Hello there, aspiring tennos. This video took forever to make. Essentially, if you consider that I had to do all of the previous Aya videos in order to get all of this data, I think I have probably put at least 20 hours into this project at this point, because I take care to get the best information out to you guys. I get behind the other people who just say, oh, it's the last chance, remember to farm your Aya. So I'm gonna be a little bit selfish here. And I'm gonna request that you take a look at Discord. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Could you leave a like and share the video? I don't like to be a shell out, but I kind of have to in order to get these videos out with a slight delay and still have a chance in the algorithm. So if you could help each other tit for tat. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look at what I'll talk about today. First up, I'll talk about if you want to buy Aya and then rat your relics, which relics should you run and what kind of results can you expect. This is considering that you run it in a 4-man group, and let me tell you, doing it solo, not worth it. We will take a look at that, but we will focus on the 4-man setup. We'll talk about whether or not you should farm Aya and sell it, or if you should sit in trade chat and buy it, and then open it. We'll also talk about which frames you might want to keep in terms of an investment to let them increase in price over time. And then we'll talk about how much you will appreciate, and again, which one is probably the best. And finally, we'll talk about a alternative method that I have covered here before in terms of investment, but we'll get towards that in the end. First up, let's go ahead and take a look at the process of opening relics. All right, I will just really quickly explain my approach here and the process that I've used to find these numbers so that you can see that I'm not just pulling it out of my ass. So first up, we have this one here, and this is a refined system of the way that I've been calculating it in the past. What's different about this one compared to what we've had before is that first up we have, and this is if 4 people run the same relic Radiant. So we have a 34% chance of getting the gold reward, and then we have a 20% out of the remaining 66% of getting the second most wanted, which is the rare, and then we have a 20% out of the remaining amount, and so on and so forth. That's why it decreases so rapidly, because you would never pick the useless former if you have the gold part or another valuable silver part available to you. That's why it's calculated this way, and that's how I get this number down here, which is the average you're gonna get per relic that you run a Radiant with a full squad of people. Next, I will just quickly give you a rundown of my findings here so you can make your own decisions, and then I'll explain how I calculate this. So these are all the different relics. This is running it solo intact, and this is running it ratified with a full 4-man squad. Just gonna scroll down here, let you take a look at the numbers. At the time of making this video, Hades 3, Neo Hades 3 is the best with 29 average platinum per run. Pretty good. This is not considering making sets, by the way. This is just considering getting the golden part, but let's be real, it's not worth farming out a couple of decent items just to get a little bit more value on your golden part when you could just have farmed 3 more golden parts instead. So anyways, moving on over here. So this is my calculations, and this, okay, let me zoom out a little bit. I know it's gonna get a little bit pixelated, but just it won't be too long. I just want to show you that I'm using the 29 here. That's where I get my value from, and sorry, this number is a little bit crazy, but basically this is if you just run the best intact relic over and over again, and the 7 minutes consider the time it takes for you to buy the relics that you need. And remember, never farm relics and then open them. Either farm them and sell them, or buy them and open them. Only one of them can be faster, right? So let's say it takes you a couple of minutes in order to be able to buy your relic. And hold on, let me zoom in again. And over here, I said over here, we have a price. So we're buying them for 7 ETH. That's a little bit cheap, but you know, you can get away with it if it's like in the middle of the day when there's not that many people on. So anyways, runtime 7 minutes. This is running the relics. This is finding a squad. This is buying the Aya to begin with. It's all included in this number. If you just run them intact, you can make 99. The reason why you get less for rat is that you only every 4th relic you run can be a radical relic, because you have to farm out the void trace as well. So keep that in mind. Now, if you alternate running 3 intact and then 3 rad, you're gonna be able to make 122 an hour, which is not bad, but I feel like we can do better, and we're gonna talk about that right now. Let's move the discussion. Now we're talking about whether or not you should even buy Aya to begin with to open it, or if you should just sell it. I know which one I prefer, but let me go ahead and break down why I think that's the case. I think it's better to farm it and sell it. All right, you can sell Aya, especially with L4, which is available right now, and that's for the Loki system as the rare reward. You can sell that for 12 platinum. I did it yesterday. It is possible, okay? You have to be a little bit patient, but it is possible. Use Warframe.market. It's a totally legit site. You cannot be banned for it. It's just for listing items for in-game currency. You can think of it as an extended trade chat. I've used it for 7 years and I've never gotten in any trouble. I never heard of anyone who got in any trouble for using it. So absolutely. Now, okay, so on with the actual video here. As you can see here, this is the brute force bounty. And by the way, this is from my ultimate Aya farming guide I did. So check that out if you want more details. But this is my favorite bounty. It takes 8.5 minutes to complete, and this is the rewards you can expect. You'll get 11.6, so that's times 12. That's a good amount of platinum. It's close to 150, so basically the same as opening up the relics, and it's way more consistent because you can run this solo, so you're not dependent on anyone. Just bring Mesa down on brute force and then do it as quickly as you can. By the way, even if it's not available from the Necrolisc, you can still find it out in the Cambion Drift and then repeat it over and over again. All right, so you also get a good amount of endo, not a huge amount, but a acceptable amount. This amounts to about 200 additional platinum for like 4.5 hours of farming, just about. You get a little bit of Kuva, that's pretty irrelevant, not gonna lie, and then Ember stats, whatever. But this down here is not to be ignored. I already done a comprehensive breakdown of this, but mother tokens are worth a lot, okay? What you have to understand is that basically the Basmu, which is available for mother tokens on the Night of Nabarest event, for example, or the etc., sells for 30 platinum each, and they cost 125, which is more than you get for doing one run. So in 8.5 minutes, you are making a bonus of 30 additional platinum, right? So that's really, really, really good, and that's just the icing on top. Obviously, you won't be able to get this until the Night of Nabarest event comes around again, but this is such a good investment that you can make right now. I cannot recommend enough that you go ahead and just do brute force, and then you sell your Aya for platinum. Now, if you don't need the platinum right away, what you can do is that you buy L4 relics, for example, and then you just sit on them, let them appreciate in value over time, and then when they reach, I don't know, 20, for example, then you just sell all of them at once. Then you have an even better rate on this. So the more patient you're willing to be, the better. We're gonna move away from the spreadsheets for a moment here, just to talk about this. Now, I've been observing this market of primed Warframes for about 4 years now, and I've seen it swing back and forth, and I've pretty much observed all of the tendencies that it has repeated itself over and over and over again. So you're just gonna have to trust me on my expertise here if you decide to take this advice. We'll just go through this real quick, because I'm just gonna tell you right now, it's better to sell these now and then reinvest into something else. But in case you don't want to do that but still invest by holding on to them, I'm gonna tell you which one is best to farm in terms of holding long term. So Nova, that's a big no. She's a really good frame, but she's in too high abundance right now. Mac has not been out of the vault for so long, and she's about to go back in again. Even while being available, she's 165 platinum. That is insane. She's gonna increase a good amount. I think she'll get back up to 300 relatively quick, and that's not in a week, by the way. When I say relatively quick, I'm talking at least like 4 to 5 months. But still, that's still pretty good for doubling in price when you already cost 150. Okay, anyways, so Limbo is a no and Trinity is a no. Trinity is really good, but he has been unvaulted recently, so that's a nope. Limbo is not a good frame, and also he is in too high abundance. We don't care about him. Hydrate is just too bad. It doesn't matter how long he has been vaulted. Mesa was unvaulted. Oh, sorry, she was just vaulted very recently. So there's too many of her relics around. We don't want her. Now Loki, that's where it's at. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you something. Historically, Loki has always been the most expensive frame. He's always increased the most in price. I am not 100% sure why this is, but every time he was unvaulted, he dropped down to, let's say, 100 platinum, just about 100, 120. And I was like, okay, that's it. He will not increase again. Everyone who wants him has him now. But every time he climbs his way up to some insane heights, he cost 500 platinum before this event, and I've seen him reach 700. It's actually insane. For some reason, it's very prestigious to have Loki Prime, even though I don't think he's that good of a frame. But if you just want to make the greatest investment, Loki is where it's at. And that's where it has always been at. There's a reason why the L4 Relic, which has his system, the rare part, is the most expensive now. Alright? Think about that for a moment. Vault. Don't get Vault. Vault can appear in... what's his name? The Void Trader. Barokatia. In his shop. And because of that, there is an opportunity that he will just crash and die all of a sudden, and you will lose all of your investment. So don't do that. Rhino and Nyx, they're part of the most recent primed unvaulting, so they're not gonna be worth much. They had 3 months to decrease in value and for their relics to accumulate in people's inventories, so that's a big no-no. And I think that's all of them. Yes, basically what I'm getting at is that Loki is where it's at. And if you don't want to do that, then you should hold on and try with Saren, because, I mean, it's Saren. But yeah, my recommendation is 300% go ahead and farm out Loki. I have seen this happen so many times that I'm willing to bet that it will happen again. Even if they bring back the Prime Resurgence, I still think that Loki will have the opportunity to increase quite a bit in price. I mean, just when he was unvaulted now, he went down to 120, and now he's almost up to 150 again. So you can see that this price is temporary. Finally, I'm gonna cover the way that I think that you should play this event. I think that you should get down on brute force and you should farm out Aya, sell it for profit now, and then reinvest it, okay? Let's just go ahead and take a look. And by the way, I've done an entire video where I cover how the spreadsheet works, because you can use it to calculate your own investment as well. The orangey spaces are the ones which can be changed, all right? The rest you don't even have to touch, so it's very easy to use. Now, if we go ahead. Okay, so I actually think I have Loki in here. Yeah, so the cost of Loki is down to 140 now. And he has a growth rate of 0.7. That's a bit generous, but let's just assume that this is actually true. So this is the amount he will increase over the amount of time which he will increase in price, because eventually he just levels out and then he's not worth much anymore. So, you know, these numbers here, if you look, this is over the amount of time where you can reasonably expect to profit. And that's pretty reasonable. So what I'm saying here is that with Loki right now, if you pour 200 platinum into this guy in 9 months, you will have profited 285. So you will have more than doubled your investment, which is not too bad. And this idea still stands. If you have Loki and you just don't sell him for 9 months, you will be rewarded with this amount. The reason why I picked 9 months is that even if Prime Resurgence turns out to be a yearly event, then you will still be able to sell him at the 9-month mark without really risking losing all the value, because the Prime Resurgence event occurs again. Most events like these are yearly. D has been very consistent about that. Alright, great. Now, let's talk Ivara Prime. Now, the window on Ivara Prime is quickly closing. She was just vaulted, so her price is increasing. Last time it was 30, but that just means that I have profited from her. The thing is, when it comes to investing in Warframe, it's not just about having the most expensive items or the items that will increase the most amount over time, because you also have to consider how many of them you're gonna be able to buy. Let's imagine that this is Titania Prime, okay? I'm not gonna ruin the spreadsheet, but let's just pretend like this is Titania Prime. Right now you can get her for 30 platinum pretty easily, maybe even 25 in some cases, but let's just say 30. So by investing in Titania Prime instead, I'll make 466 platinum. Sorry, brain melted down there for a second. And that's a really good amount compared to these measly 285. And this is not to be taken lightly. Now, at some point, you will have so much platinum that you cannot use it all on just buying cheap frames. And I've actually made a calculator for that down here. there's actually multiple different calculators, but this is pretty much it. So master rank, how many traits you have, how many days you have to get the thing you want in. So if the Prime Vault, for example, this event ends in 6 days, then you can only make so many traits depending upon how many days you have and how many traits are available each day, and then how much platinum you have to invest. And then this here, the system will tell you which of them is better and which one you should be using. And I know this is very confusing to look at, but don't worry, I have explained it in greater detail in an entire video dedicated to this. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So my general advice is that you should sell Aya, not keep it, and then you should reinvest it into, you know, if you have a small amount, into Prime Junk, which you're going to turn into Prime Mods. I also have a video on that. And otherwise, if you have a lot of platinum, then you should invest it into Titania sets, or you can still invest it into Ivara. Ivara is still very good, even if she costs 40 now, but this is absolutely the last window of opportunity to grab her, and I would consider Titania. It depends upon how much plat you have. So go ahead and play around with the system, find out what works the best for you, and then get out there and make sure you don't waste this last chance, okay? Remember, brute force bounty on Deimos. Remember this.